Hello everybody and welcome back to Animal Crossing City Folk. Today, I really don't know what we're gonna do. Part of me almost wants to just talk about more Fire Emblem, because I've been back playing a little more Fates. Not a lot more, because the way I'm playing it, it keeps crashing. I have kind of fixed my issue a bit. It still crashes a little bit, but at least I think I figured out why mine was crashing. I basically just used the save editor to do castle stuff. Like, to basically outfit my supply room. So I have like 40 of each type of food, 40 of each type of gem or whatever. You know, just because I honestly don't think I'm going to be playing long enough to actually accumulate enough of those to experience that in its fullest. Because they went with not a great system for it. I've also come to the conclusion that almost every weapon seems like they designed it under the idea of it has to have a downside. Like, for instance, normally in Fire Emblem, if you're about to move, say, a fighter, you know, an axe-wielding unit, somewhere where they're within range of an archer, you might give them a hand axe. It's a throwing axe. It's more inaccurate than normal axes, but hey, it's ranged. The lower accuracy really doesn't matter after a while, and it gives you at least the chance to fight back. Or crit. Or multi-hit. You probably might guess where this is going. In Fates, there is the throwing weapons, at least, you know, the ranged weapons. At least the early game ones. You cannot multi-hit, you cannot counterattack, and there is one other you can't debuff on them. And that just does not seem worth it in the slightest. And I know we should be talking with villagers. I just want to ramble today. We'll talk to villagers again tomorrow. Unless they wish to talk with us today, in which case we will talk with them, because that is how it works. But yeah, like, it's honestly a little hard to be like, yeah, I want to use this weapon when it gives you visible and horrendous debuffs. Hey, mush furniture. It was just a mushroom, but it was really a mush stool. Okay, that's like the third one of those we've gotten. It'll go to Nooks. Like, it just doesn't make any sense why they've given it such big debuffs. And like, a lot of the bronze weaponry can't crit. Either that or can't multi-hit. But they'll give you 10 more evasion, as if that matters. Like, of course lighter weapons should give you more evasion. They're lighter. That's how it's always worked. But it seems like unless the weapon has that evasion boost, it doesn't give evasion. It's just got a flat 0. Making, between iron and steel, of a lot of the weapons I've seen, iron is just the vastly superior weapon. There's not a whole lot of point to using steel. Like, a lot of things in the game feel like that. It almost feels like they overbalance things to the point of them being useless. Like, well, once again, every steel weapon has a debuff. Usually, it'll lower your evasion, and some other stat along with it. Like, that doesn't feel worth it. That feels legitimately like, you know, it's just there to hurt you. And nothing in a game should feel like that. Let alone a Fire Emblem game. I mean, the game mechanics themselves are there to hurt you. You don't need your own equipment turning on you now, too. Like, Fire Emblem is notorious for its permadeath, and they've even been easing off on that recently. Like, literally, there is a difficulty mode for Fates that makes it so your characters revive a few turns after they die. I don't get why they're dumbing down the gameplay so much. I mean, I get you don't have to choose that, but the fact it's there means that some people are getting an illegitimate Fire Emblem experience. Because, well, let's face it, if you're given the choice between permadeath and not permadeath, you're gonna go with the not permadeath. If you're given the option between permadeath, non-permadeath, and revival a couple turns after the character dies, you're gonna go with revival a couple turns after that character dies. Like, that's just what you're gonna do. And I couldn't blame you for it. That's the smart thing to do. I think I just saw a mushroom in here. Yes! Just regular mushroom. I think there's only ever one piece of mush furniture at a time, but I like picking up all the mushrooms anyway. Because, hey, Nook will buy them, so. But, like, that... I don't understand where the Fire Emblem series is going. Because they, as far as I can tell, they kept the child characters, and I've yet to run into any of them yet. Mostly because none of my characters have S-rank supports yet. So I really don't know how they're going to lure that in. Because at least with Awakening, they tried to lure it in, as much as the child mechanic literally killed any amount of character development that the characters might have had otherwise. But at least they tried to lure it with all of the child characters are just coming back in time because they want to save their parents, who are godlike entities. But, you know. Zoom! It's good to see you, S-Spot. I had a question to ask you. Now I just said Zoom a second ago, Popo. Well, I think it's time we came up with a greeting that's a little more personal, don't you? Definitely. Really? So do you have something in mind? If so, you just have to share it with me, Popo. Kiki. She's just a monkey now from... Yes, she's just an earthbound monkey now. As much as I'm pretty sure they have other sounds mixed in. I can't remember them at the moment. So she's just getting keys. But, yeah, like... I still don't like the child system with Awakening. And I feel like I'm really not gonna like it with, Fates either. Because, well, it just feels like it's hindering the characters for no good reason. And what I mean by hindering them for no good reason is because your characters can pass any skill down to their child, basically. It means a lot of characters really can't become classes. Like, if you look at Shadow Dragon's reclassing, so long as you have, say, 5 base archers, you can reclass anybody to an archer so long as you reclass someone else off to something else. One of your archers off to something else. And you always have one extra space of, you know, a lot of things. So, like, you know, just if you want someone to be an archer instead of a knight, you just reclass them over to it. Because they don't learn a skill at level 10 and then another one at 15. That if they were to pass down to a child character, you know, it could possibly break the game. Like having every female child character ever having counter. Every male child character ever also having access to counter. Counter itself is a powerful ability, returning basically non-lethal melee damage back to the attacker. I mean, that is a ridiculously good ability. And that may, you know, that it comes from the Berserker. Is that... The ground looks like it's not right here. I'm guessing this is a fossil. Yes! Ha-ha! Game's being tricky. I'd probably have a better time seeing those if I were to watch my, my monitor, but if I do that, I'm looking away from my microphone, which is gonna make me sound like I'm looking away from the microphone. But like, if they were to just let any class, well, any character become any class for their gender, and just have the classes themselves have their own skills, that would solve a lot of it. Because let's face it, characters aren't really individuals anyway with the Awakening/Fates system. So I'm guessing the Fates classing system is very similar to Awakening's. I've not gotten too far into it, but I'm just assuming that it'll basically probably be like that. I've actually yet to do my first class up yet. I'm only on like chapter 9, so I could do a class up. I have a level 10, but I'm waiting to higher levels because that's what you do in Fire Emblem. But, like, it's literally that sort of system ruins character-developed relationships. And what I mean by that is just examples like, well, to use Sacred Stones, which once again, I know I should be working on bonus episodes. I haven't got any done yet. I've been really busy with other stuff. But, Lute and Artor, they themselves have... The ground looks off here. This is another fossil, isn't it? Yep. They themselves have before you even have them start working through their support, they show an attraction to each other. Hinting at they have feelings for each other, and their support expands upon that. Now, Awakening has something like that. Sumia and Chrom. Sumia and Chrom clearly both have feelings for each other. Sumia and Chrom are probably the worst pairing you could do for Lucina. You see how that works? The character development they gave for Chrom and Sumia makes a worse Lucina. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It literally makes it so you're going, well, you know, they might have feelings for each other, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna breed Chrom with whoever I want him to. That'll give a better Lucina and better other child character, and give both of them better skills in the long run. Like, just from what little I've looked through how the characters class up, I would honestly have Chrom and Pan be together. Because that could pass down to Lucina, the, Actually, I don't think Lucina can have a skill passed down to her, but the other child character could have the Griffin Rider's, carry skill passed down, which gives +2 to movement. And movement is probably the best stat in the game. Like, you can't really deny that. It is basically the best skill. So, having just an ability of getting another character with that makes another better character. I mean, it only works when they're paired up, but why wouldn't you pair them up? I'm actually even still running into that with Fates, of why wouldn't I pair the units up? Like, if not pairing them up, they're not gonna multi-hit, and they'll hit for less. Why wouldn't I pair them up? Do that, and I'm gonna donate... I don't know how much. I think I'll donate like 21,000. There you go. Nope, nothing else. And then the recycling. Do. I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? You'd figure there'd be something in here. Wednesday or Tuesday, I think, actually. I can't keep my days straight. It's Tuesday. Yeah, you'd figure there might be stuff in there. Hopefully there will be tomorrow. But, like, even in, like, Awakening... Well, actually, I'll just go with Fates for an example. Oh, God, what was her name? Felicity, I believe it is? Your character's maid. She has clear feelings for your avatar character. You have no real incentive to have her be your avatar character's partner, except if you want it to be that way, but you're probably going to want him, you know, being with someone else so that his or her child is better. Like, that's kind of the problem. There are characters that have, you know, inherent relationships already, or at least inherent attractions. And in previous Fire Emblems, you'd be able to become good friends with someone your character doesn't have a romantic attraction to beforehand, but you wouldn't be able to marry them at the end credits. Like, that's just kind of how it works. And yeah, I'm gonna try and see if YouTube will pick this up for the thumbnail, because I honestly don't know how to make thumbnails. So I just let YouTube do it, if you haven't guessed. YouTube's actually been getting better about that. I'm actually gonna quickly mention that right now. I know a while back people were complaining because, you know, YouTube was taking away the ability to use custom thumbnails from a bunch of people. It's like 1% of creators. And, you know, having their new algorithm tested for thumbnails. And seeing what, you know, people clicked on. And since then, YouTube's own generated thumbnails have been getting a lot better. Like, I'll give you an example. Before that experiment happened with YouTube, my thumbnail options would be 3 screens like this. Like, it would pick the menu, because it has the brightest colors. But now, it'll actually pick other things, and it's kind of good. But I am going to end things off here. So with that, I'd like to remind everyone I do have a Patreon, should you wish to throw money at my face. And with that said, I thank you all very much for watching, and hope to see you again next time for more Animal Crossing City Folk. See you all then.